That's the question people always ask me anytime I share this story. Why? Why, Kayode? Why? Why would you do this? Why would you run a marathon? Are you a sportsman now? Are you no longer a motivational speaker? Even though I never told anyone I was a motivational speaker in the first place. So that's the question they keep asking me. Why? Very same question everyone asked me when I quit my job at the bank 7 years ago. Everyone was asking me, Kayode, why would you do this? Why would you quit a well-paying job to the tune of 6 figures to start a new career in writing and training? Why? Because I want to have an inspiring story to share tomorrow. My philosophy has always been that if you live an ordinary life, all you will have are ordinary stories. So my Lagos City Marathon experience was very, very exciting because it was my very, very first marathon. Here's the medal here with me. You guys can see it. 2020 Access Bank Lagos City Marathon. I remember waking up that morning some minutes to 4 a.m. Eventually, at about 5 a.m., we set out of the house for the Surulere Stadium where the marathon was slated for 6:30 a.m. 6:30 a.m. and we are off. 1 kilometer becomes 2 kilometers, becomes 3, becomes 4, becomes 5, becomes 6. By the 8 kilometer mark, we get to the phase of the race where we are ascending the popular Third Mainland Bridge. For those of you who don't stay in Lagos, the Third Mainland Bridge is the bridge that connects the mainland with the island. I remember running on that bridge and just saying to myself, I conquered you. The Third Mainland Bridge is actually 12 kilometers. So by the time we are coming off the Third Mainland Bridge, we're exactly at the halfway point of the marathon. And so I'm going, wow, this is awesome. 21 kilometers. I've never run 21 kilometers in my life and I'm still feeling energized, gassed up, roaring to go. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. By 25 kilometers, my legs are now beginning to shake and my entire body is on fire. I can't drink water, but I'm gargling and spitting out and then dumping the rest of the contents on my body just to cool it down. Pushing 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 kilometers. I'm still pushing 31, 32, 33. By the time I get to the 33 kilometer mark, with just 9 kilometers to go, my legs now feel like lead and I can't lift them anymore. I stop running, but I don't completely stop. I now start to walk as fast as I can. So I'm catching my breath, I'm walking, I catch my breath a little, run a little, walk a little. I'd read Bryan Cranston's book, A Life in Parts, a very, very powerful book. Bryan Cranston is the phenomenal actor behind the character Walter White in the awesome series Breaking Bad. He talked about his own very first marathon experience in his book, how with just less than 10 kilometers to go to the end of the marathon, he feels like he just can't go on. And I'm wondering, Brian, what are you talking about? Come on, you just ran 30-something kilometers. That's the point when you should feel super gingered, super energized, to just complete the race and see it to the end. But now, having run the marathon myself, I now understand what he was talking about. It's at that point, I'm pushing, I'm walking, I'm running 34, 35. All of a sudden, every kilometer mark now looks longer than usual. People on the side of the road, they are cheering you on. Come on, you can do it. Go on, you're almost there. And I'm like, you keep saying I'm almost there, but it looks like forever to get there. I'm pushing 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42 kilometers. It's at the 42 kilometer mark that I see the finish line just way ahead. I assure you, I don't think I've ever been happier in my life seeing that finish line just ahead of me. The initial plan was for me to run across the finish line, lifting my hands in victory so that I could get some cool shots taken by my friend Ola. But I'm just so happy to get to the finish line. I'm so tired that I cross the finish line, I forget to lift my hands. The thing I want to just talk about is to address the elephant in the room. And that's the question people always ask me anytime I share this story. Why? Why, Kayode? Why? Why would you do this? Why would you run a marathon? Are you a sportsman now? Are you no longer a motivational speaker? Even though I never told anyone I was a motivational speaker in the first place. Why? The very same question everyone asked me when I quit my job at the bank 7 years ago. Everyone was asking me, Kayode, why would you do this? Why would you quit a well-paying job to the tune of 6 figures to start a new career in writing and training? Why? Because I want to have an inspiring story to share tomorrow. My philosophy has always been that if you live an ordinary life, all you will have are ordinary stories. If your life was made into a movie, will people find it interesting to watch? Some people will fall asleep watching a movie of their own lives. And for me, that's my why. And that's one thing that I've discovered is the secret of a lot of high performers, knowing their why and keeping that why in view. High performers do so many awesome things that leave us in awe and wonder how they are able to do it, because they know their why and they keep that why in view. For somebody like Usain Bolt, his why was to buy nice things for his parents. For Maradona, his why was to play for his country and to win the World Cup. Knowing our why gives us that energy, to keep going on that journey to becoming the very best versions of ourselves. Without a why and keeping that why in view, what happens is that the things that we do are reduced to just regular tasks and routine, which eventually become boring and which eventually lead us to just giving up, making excuses and giving up altogether. It's like that very popular story of the 3 stonecutters. There was this man walking someday and he came across this particular stonecutter at work and asked him, "Sir, what are you doing?" The stonecutter replied, "Isn't it obvious? I'm cutting a stone," with a hint of irritation in his voice. The man moves on from this particular stonecutter, gets to the second stonecutter and poses the same question to him, "What are you doing?" This particular stonecutter looks up from the stone he's cutting, adjusts the professorial looking glasses on the tip of his nose and says, "Well, if you must know, I'm cutting this stone to the perfect dimension of this height and this width so that it can fit seamlessly into that wall being built over there." The man moves on from this third stonecutter and gets to this third stonecutter who is whistling while he walks, and he asks him, "Sir, what are you doing?" This particular stonecutter lifts up his head and you could see this broad, hearty smile and a spark in his eyes, and he replies, "I'm building a cathedral." The lesson is clear. While the first stonecutter was focused on the what and the second stonecutter was focused on the how, the third stonecutter knew the why of what he did. While the other 2 stonecutters were focused on what was right in front of them, the third stonecutter was focused at something that lay in the distance, something invisible, but something so inspiring that gave him energy and joy as fuel for his work. The other 2 people could only see something tangible, could only see something physical, which was the stones right in front of them, but this guy could see a cathedral that did not exist yet, but he saw that cathedral in his mind. A cathedral that will one day seat families, where someone will one day have his baptism, climb the altar to share his or her testimony, they have their thanksgiving or celebrate some life-changing event. You can be sure that with a why like that, while the other 2 stonecutters will probably wake up some mornings and think of the tedious job ahead of them and just feel like, look, I just can't get out of bed, this other third stonecutter will leap out of bed with a spring in his step, or like how my father-in-law of blessed memory would say, with zigimo, with zest, energy and verve, to just hit the day, to hit the ground running. That's what makes the difference. For us to be able to live a life of no limits, to break barriers, to live a life of no excuses, to fulfill our potential, we must know our why, and we must keep that why in view. Why do we do what we do? Why do we want to achieve that goal? Is that why inspiring enough? Does that why get the blood in your vein pumping? Does that why cause you to leap out of bed with a spring in your step? It's not as if those people who know their why and keep their why in view don't have off days, don't have days, where they are feeling low and where they feel like they just can't go on. I sure had my fair share. I would wake up some mornings to go for my run then in preparation towards the marathon, and I would just feel like not getting out of bed. But just at that particular moment when I want to make an excuse and just lay back in bed and not go for my run, I'll just remember that, look, Kayode, the reason why you are doing this is not because of you, but it's because of the thousands, it's because of the millions that are going to hear your story tomorrow and that are going to be inspired to also take a step. They are going to be inspired to dare, to dream, to reach, to dare to fulfill their potential. And anytime I remember that, I just drag my ass out of bed and hit the road running. Why do you do what you do? Why do you want to achieve that goal? Is that why inspiring enough? And if you can't find a why that is inspiring enough, then it might be time for you to change some of the things that you do.